Lovely people, this is your girl Efia Sopon, aka Kuman Kima. Welcome to Diaspora Struggles on True Show Hall. Today we have a very special guest in the person of Mrs. Odilia Anibrika. Hi, Mrs. Odilia.
Hello.
How are you doing today?
Wonderful, by God's grace. How are you?
Good. And welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm honored to be here.
All right. So there's a recent issue right now going on in Ghana, West Africa. And it's about a fire outbreak in Kejetia in Ashanti region. And the fire was so bad because it burnt a lot of things. And the sad thing about it is that people were just standing around watching and taking videos of the fire. And, you know, people were struggling to get out of the building, you know, coming out through like a robe and all that. And it was so sad. So I was wondering why people would stand around and look. So what's your thought on that since you're from Ghana?
It's unfortunate that this happened. I have personally not seen the video, but I have heard about what happened. I hope and pray that, you know, such things don't happen rampant like they usually do. Okay. Now, the other thing is that people need to be educated on, how to put off fire immediately when it happens, even before the fire service come over to put off the fire. Yes. That is one of the things that needs to be done. Okay. I would say. I think it would be a good idea if such program is introduced in the schools. Yes. And I remember at a point, there was something. I would say, I'm not sure if it was a program that was being set aside, but the police at a point will stop drivers and, you know, ask for your fire extinguisher. Oh, okay. Yeah, I remember one of my visits to Ghana. Yeah, oh, wow. About 3 years or 2 years ago. Yeah, okay. They were checking for fire extinguishers, even in the cars, you know, when you're driving. So I will say that this should continue. And the other thing is people need to be taught how to use it. Okay. You know, to be able to put off fire before the fire service come over to put off the fire. Yeah, and this reminds me because I used to work in Ghana. I worked in Ghana for like 2 years before traveling out. And I was never taught anything about fire. So, like over here, I know that in jobs and other, you know, everywhere they teach about fire and how to put out fire. So I think it should be done over there, you know. That will so really that help. Because recently I've seen a lot of fires happening in Ghana. So something must be done about it. Yeah. Okay. So can you tell us about yourself? Well, I am Odelia. Okay. I was born in Ghana. I moved over to the U.S. That was back in 2008. Yeah, I was 25 years when I left Ghana. Wow. Yeah, and I've been in the U.S. for 15 years now. Oh, my God. Yeah. Yeah. I'm like, sometimes I look back and I'm like, where did time go? But I guess I've been busy with, you know, work and school and family. So, yeah, it's been I would say, a wonderful experience. Wow. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Yes. So, yeah, I'm a nurse. Okay. A registered nurse? Yes. Please. Okay. Okay. So when you came here, did you start off as a nurse or you did something else before becoming a nurse? No. I actually came in, I started work at Sears. It's a departmental store. Okay. So that is where the journey began. I was working at Sears and then I started school. I was a Geriatric Nursing Assistant, GNA. Okay. Before I started my nursing classes. I started off as a GNA because I wanted to be exposed to the nursing career. Okay. So and that's a good start. It really helped me, you know, going through nursing school. A lot of things made sense. compared to people who, had no idea or had no clue about, patient care.
Oh,
So, yeah,
okay.
it was a good start off, for me.
Oh, wow. Okay. So when you got here, because the reason I'm going to ask this question is that I experienced it too. That when I got here, I was being advised to get into nursing. And, for years, I thought that was the only job or that was the only lucrative job. Until recently, I learned otherwise. So do you think it's a good thing being advised? It's like mostly Africans were being advised to go into nursing. Do you think it's a good thing?
Yeah, it's a good profession.
Okay.
When I was back in Ghana, growing up, actually when I got out of high school, I wanted to go into the nursing training college, but
Okay.
it was really a challenge.
Wow.
I think, you had to know somebody, like, quote and unquote connection. You needed to have the connection or, kind of pay bribe just to get enrolled in the nursing training
school.
college back home. So when I
Okay.
got here, my big sister, who was then living here, she was into the healthcare setup. So she told me, hey, it's easier to get in the nursing schools here
Over
compared
here.
to back home.
Okay.
So there was actually a community college just a walking distance from where I live.
Oh, wow.
It's in Columbia, Howard Community College.
Okay.
It's a great
And I
school.
heard that's a
anyway.
good school too.
Yeah, it's a great school.
Wow.
So I actually went over to inquire. I went. My sister was like, "Hey, you can just go and find out, about taking classes." And so I actually walked to the school by myself. I talked to an advisor,
Okay.
and then that's
And
how
that was it. From there, you were able
that's
to
how
enroll.
the journey began. So
Okay.
I was taking the classes one class I actually started. It was a summer class I started off with. So since I knew it was new, I was in a totally new environment.
Okay.
I decided to take one class
At
and,
a time.
at a time and see how it goes. So I started taking one class, and then after work, I go to school, or after school I go to work, depending on the schedule of the
So did you
person.
have any responsibilities at that time? Because a lot of people complain about going to school and taking care of family and then family back home. So that's kind of a lot of responsibilities, So it's hard for them to go to school. Some of them stop on the way and all that. So how was it for you? Did you have any responsibilities?
Yes, I had to. I had to, send money home from time to time.
Wow.
Yeah, it was difficult,
Okay.
but I will say I am who I am now by God's grace. I could not have, done it all
Of
by
course.
myself. Yeah, I draw my strength from, the Word of God. We can do all things through Christ who strengthens us. Yeah,
Yes,
it's been a journey, but yeah, I'm grateful for, how the journey was, because it actually, made me stronger. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. So one thing I've learned is like living in the diaspora takes us out of our comfort zone. Because, like me, when I got over here, there's something like to get into nursing. I got into nursing. I did nursing for a while. And then after a while, I kind of got tired of it. So I decided to get into something else. So what I realized was I didn't like nursing back home. But when I got here, I was told it's a very lucrative job. So why don't you get in it? And I guess everybody is here because of, the dollars. So I had to get into it. But in Africa, I wouldn't do it. And then one thing that I did that I was so amazed at myself. I was like, I don't think I can ever do this. But I was forced to do it. In a way I was forced because I was told that if I don't do it, I will get fired. So I had to do it. I actually bathed, a dead person. And that was the most difficult thing for me because in Africa, I wouldn't even look at a corpse. So for me to do that was a lot of, I had to gather a lot of courage to be able to do that, So that's why I say that it takes you out of your comfort zone. I wouldn't drive. When I was in Ghana, I never thought of driving, but over here, I could drive. And I'm a better driver now. So what do you think about that? You think it takes us out of our comfort zone?
Well, it actually depends on how you look at it.
Okay.
Like you said, back home you will not do things you're doing here.
Yes.
But I believe you will look back and say, hey, this has actually made you a better person.
Yes, yes.
Because there might be a lot of challenges that could be thrown at you now that you will be able to handle compared to, if you were back home, some challenges, you might go through certain challenges, and then how to deal with it or overcome it will be very difficult for you.
Yes.
So it really depends on how you look at it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So we used to hear like a lot of stories about the Western world, the diaspora, that, it's like heaven on earth, especially America. It's a land of dreams, But on getting here, did you see it that way?
Well, I remember hearing stories of, hey, like, in the U.S., okay, America, it's like you be walking on gold and diamonds.
I didn't hear that.
Like that. That's what people used to say.
Wow.
I think they call it second heaven, quote and unquote.
Wow.
That's what people used to say. I've heard people say it. But, coming over here, you compare America to my home country, it's a totally different environment. I mean, you hardly see filled, like, how people sit in cars, moving vehicles, and just throw trash out of the window.
Yes.
I cannot do it. I cannot. Growing up, I saw people do it. But when I came over here,
so did you
and then
I
did it. I mean, it was like something you do, like it was something normal. You could just, throw a piece of trash out of a moving vehicle.
Okay.
But when I moved over here, when I went back home for vacation, never ever would you see me. I will hold onto that trash till I see the closest trash can to put it in. So it's a totally new, totally different environment compared to back home. And you will not see, for example, if you're really pressed, you want to pee.
Okay.
You cannot just squat anywhere and just pee, but people do that back home. You cannot do that here.
I never saw anything like that when I go here, but one time I was driving on some like road and I saw someone doing that. I'm like, whoa, this is the first time I'm seeing something like this here. And I was so shocked, because it's not done here. So I was like, he should pray that no police, catches him doing that,
You hardly see such things here,
Yes.
So there are a lot of positive and negative, aspect about moving here or being back in my home country.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So was the language an issue for you when you got here?
No, it was not. It was not. The only thing I remember that I had difficulty pronouncing was water.
Okay.
Now, I actually had one of my patients asking me, oh, you speak very good English. And I was like,
wow.
Yes, I speak English because that's the language I grew up learning in school. We speak English at school. Most of them here do not know that we speak English back in my home country. We speak English in Ghana. So it was news to them.
Wow.
So water. I don't even remember the last time, you
said that. Okay.
I used to say water when I came to the US, and they'd be like, "Say what? What's that?" So so I started learning.
Yeah.
To say
because
water.
I know that
so now I say water.
They don't say nurse like we say nurse in Ghana. So they say nurse. So I had to learn that too. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So a lot of people complain about culture shock when they, when they came here. So how was it for you? Did you have that experience when you got here?
Yes.
Okay.
For example, seeing people dress, like, wearing a very hot pant, very short, that you could see their butt cheeks. Like, you see people
wow.
walking even in the mall and, stuff like that. I mean, open places. I mean, you would think you only see people wearing such things at the beach, or
yes.
the poolside, like, compared to Ghana.
Okay.
But, yeah, you see that people wear very hot pants. I wear shorts. I love to wear shorts, but not very short that you can see my butt cheeks. Yeah, so that's one of the things that I was really surprised about. And then how people talk to, like, okay, for example, at the job, we grew up in Ghana. You address somebody who is older than you as Mr. or
Mrs.
Miss or whatever.
Mrs., yeah.
So I started calling, like, people I know or I see are older than me. I say, oh, Mr. say so and so, Mr. Jones or Miss Jones. They said, no, don't just say my first name.
Yeah.
That was really hard for me
and
to just
up
call.
up to date is still hard for me.
I cannot.
Yes.
It's really, but most of them give the explanation or the reason being they feel way too old
when you call them that.
Yeah. So
just
really,
recently when I got my new job, I was calling my manager Mr. Every time I go to him, I'm like, Mr. This, Mr. This, and he's like, you know what? You could be older than me. I'm like, okay, that is weird. So, and this is a huge man sitting there telling me I could be older than him. So, and then my supervisor said the same thing, and I was like, okay. So, and I felt so uncomfortable calling them by their bare name like that. So, I don't know. It's a culture shock to me too. So,
yeah. And then another thing is going to church and seeing that people can just wear shorts, like even ladies or women can wear, especially in the summer.
Okay.
They wear shorts to church. I mean, I don't see that. You hardly see that back in Ghana.
Yeah, in Africa, I wouldn't wear like pants to church, but over here, I think I'm comfortable now wearing pants. But short, I cannot. I can't do that. Never can I do it. Yes. So, I mean, some of the way of living here, it's kind of weird, but we kind of got used to it,
Yes.
Yes.
Get used to it as you grow. Yeah.
So far, living in diaspora, has it been like a blessing or curse?
I would say it's been a blessing.
Okay.
It's been a blessing. I've learned a lot of things, and it kind of builds you to be able to live independently. I would say right now you can put me or place me in anywhere in the world, and I'll be able to survive.
Yeah, because you live with parents, closest family, and all that. So
I've learned a lot.
Yeah, and then I hear people talking about it takes two to live in the Western world, and when I came here all alone, it was hard for me until my husband joined me, and I could tell the difference between living, living with your spouse and living all alone. It was so hard in terms of bills and all those stuff.
Yeah, same here. Same here. I've been living all by myself. My husband just joined me a month ago.
Wow,
yeah,
wow.
It's been
I've been through
tough.
it, so I know what you're talking about.
It's been tough, but I like I say, I go back to saying the Lord has sustained me, and it hasn't been easy.
So there's this thing I've heard people say, that living in a diaspora, I mean, when you're sick, you refuse to get sick. Why is it so?
Well, I really haven't heard that, but I would think they say that because if you're sick, you definitely need to take time off for work. Okay. Now, if you take time off for work, how are you going to be able to pay your bills? Because for the most part, you have to punch in and out to get paid over here. Mm-hmm. So you're looking at, hey, you're sick, you're not going to work, you're going to lose that pay.
Yes.
How are you going to pay your bills?
Yes.
Is something you think about.
And they're not going to consider you being
unless,
sick and,
yeah,
say, oh, you can, forget
so,
this month. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
A lot of places you have to punch in and out.
Okay.
That's how, you get paid.
Yes.
So.
And then one thing too is working multiple hours. Almost everybody have done it. So what's your take on that?
It's tough. It's not easy,
yes.
To work. I would say sometimes you go like that, like a revolving door around the clock. Mm-hmm. You're working. Yeah. I remember when I was back in school, nursing school, I did that. I mean, couple of times because I was focusing on my school. Okay. So I don't go to work every day. I try to put in a lot on campus. I go to school after class. I stay in the library. I study and all that. Especially if I have exam coming up. Right after exam, I pick some days I could work double. I could work, which a regular shift is usually 8 hours. So I could pick 2 shifts, so which is 16 hours.
Oh wow!
So that's what I had to do.
Back.
Mm-hmm, that's what I had to do. You know, sometimes just to catch up with paying bills and all that.
So that means you were doing that on the weekend.
Yeah, some weekends I used to do that.
Wow.
Or even weekdays I could work say 3 to 11 and then through the night 11 to 7.
Wow.
Get off in the morning.
I remember I used to do 24 hours.
That is if you have another job you can go to.
Because I would go to this job for 16 hours and then I would rush off to another job till the next day. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And sometimes I could even do more than 24 hours because I would get off from that job too and go to another job. I didn't know how I did it, but when I look back now, I'm like, how did I do it?
You'll be asking yourself how you did it. It's really crazy. It's not the best thing to do, but sometimes you got to do what you got to do.
Yes.
But it's really not healthy to do that for a very long time because you're definitely going to break down. So I don't advise anybody to do that.
Yeah, sometimes I wonder how some people are able to do night shifts, every day. I don't know how they do it, but they're able to do it. Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. So one thing too is, do your family back home, bother you about money?
Not necessarily.
Because a lot of people complain about that too.
People do say that, but my family back home do not. They don't do that. But I mean, from time to time, I do, send money home to support. Say, if my niece calls me, hey, auntie, can you get me this? Yes, I'll send money. And then, from time to time, probably like Christmas occasions, I could send money home and say, you all get this and buy, let's say, something for the occasion.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't.
Yes. And sometimes people complain that family back home are sometimes ungrateful to them because they'll send them money and they think money is being picked on the ground or it falls from trees. That's what most people say, because even when you try to explain to them that making money here is not easy. It doesn't fall from trees. They don't understand. They think you're joking, or you just don't want them to also come here, or you're trying to discourage them from coming here or something like that.
That is really that is really true. It happens. You tell people what is going on here. And it's like, sometimes they be like, oh, they be my excuses. They be some say, oh, yeah, and that's what they say, Mumbrevie. But the thing is, you're here. Okay, for example, I've been here for 15 years.
And so one thing is, you left everything you were doing there and came here. So and you don't want to be called useless too, because that's what, most people back home think, that if you, let's say you go back home with nothing, they will think you're useless, because they think everybody go there and make it. Why can't you do it? So you also, need to make it,
Yeah.
So that's why a lot of people do whatever they can, work multiple hours, 24 hours, just to make it. But it's not healthy. I remember one time one lady did that, and on her way home, she crashed and died. But when you tell people back home, it's like you're just joking to them.
They don't believe it.
Okay.
So sometimes they need to experience it to see it. So
Okay.
I tell them, I just hope that everybody can get that opportunity to come here,
just to experience it. Yes, I think so too. Sometimes I say that I wish I can bring all my family here so that they can also experience what we're going through, because you tell them and they think, okay, you turn and go,
yes, something like that.
So what advice can you give somebody who want to also come here?
Well, it's not a bad thing to venture. If you want to come here, I'm not sure what the person is setting out to come do, but if it's just come over here for vacation, fine, you can come over, just have fun. There are actually a lot of places you can go to for vacations. You come or you go back. Now, others, I have heard that others will kind of sell their properties and everything, borrow money just to get the visa to come over here.
And some are even cheated, like they're tricked into like giving all their money to like a connection man, and they will spend their money. They will not even have the chance to come.
I've heard people do that. I don't advise anybody to do that too. Go borrow money, sell their properties just to come over here, because you don't know how it's going to be, how your journey is going to look like when you get here. So you might end up being depressed about the whole situation, because if you come here and it's definitely going to be through getting a visa to come here. If you come and it's time to go back home, and I don't know what their plans is, but if it's something they come in over here to stay,
that's fine.
If the thing is, if you come over here and you don't have the paperwork to stay, what are you going to do?
Yes.
That is,
and a lot of people do that too, because they come here without papers and they have to struggle, to get papers too. So it's a difficult thing. So me personally, I think if you have a good job, or if let's say you have your own business back home, I don't think it's a good idea traveling. Because whatever you're seeking to get here, you can get it over there too.
Yeah, but they can travel here for vacation and then
go back. So, and then a lot of people go through stress in this country, or living in diaspora. A lot of people go through stress in terms of bill paying and all those stuff. So in a nutshell, what advice would you give to like people living in the diaspora?
I would say that do not compete with people. The only person you should compete with is yourself.
Yes.
Try to make the most out of life or whatever situation you find yourself, because it can get really stressful, and sometimes people will go and buy houses, or homes, because they feel, oh, this person have a very nice house and they're living in an apartment, so they're like, oh, I need to go get a house.
Yes.
Not thinking of how, what comes with it.
Yes.
You have to pay bills. So really, people should just try not to compete with others.
They should cut their coat according to their sizes, I guess.
with others, and make the most out of, whatever situation you find yourself in. Believe in God. He's able to do all things. Whatever you set out to do, God will guide you. If you depend on Him, He will never fail.
Yes, God will never fail you. And indeed, He never fails. So on that note, we'll bring the program to an end. So till we meet next time, it's all love. Bye.